YouTube, welcome back to Timeless Indiana. Now, over the past few weeks, we have visited a couple of spots in Indiana, like Kokomo and Brownsburg. We found a couple of spots that sell watches, shows that entrepreneurial spirit right here in the state of Indiana. And today, we get to go visit one of my favorite spots, Trifecta Watches. We're about to go in there and check Jake and the crew out, see what they up to, and get some behind the scenes as to why this business exists.
They're the ones, man. They just. I don't know. Hey, Travis.
Hey!
I don't know if it's.
I hear a time graph for somewhere.
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know if it's a matter of. I mean, I talked with some of them. They say even like this guy in San Diego. He's like, San Diego has money. It's on the West Coast, where the coast tend to love watches. Maybe more than the Midwest or the South. Yeah, they can't get stuff. And sometimes it's because they either run out, so they're low on supply, and these generational jewelry stores aren't like us, where like if a watch runs out, we're ordering it immediately.
Okay.
If they run out, they're like, we'll get to it at the end of the month, because they're focused on jewelry,
Okay.
So they don't always spend as much energy on watches as we do, for example. And then some of it is just probably that emphasis on those higher end watches.
So this is a rare time where normally when I come to Trifecta, Jake has a few customers. We're talking about watches, of course, but today his photographer was there, a social media expert rather, and she was capturing the new pieces that were in. We were talking about Longines, as you can see here, one of my favorites, by the way, and it was great, man. Like, this is the part that I love about watch collecting and just following this hobby, because it's more than just, hey, I want to buy a watch. I want to get like the best that you got in the case and then keep it moving. Man, like, we had a full conversation about life. We were talking about, education. We were talking about Neil Armstrong being a graduate of Purdue, which, is like right up the road, not too far from here. So yeah, let's jump back into this, and you're going to see the behind the scenes. And this picture actually landed on Instagram. All right, man, we are in Trifecta, man, and I love it here. One, it has a particular smell in here when you walk in, and I think it just like really makes you want to spend money.
That's right.
I think it's the magician over here. I think he's setting off like some pheromones that make you want. So, Jake, we've gone live together, and some people don't know that, like, we met like a few years back, Kokomo, right? Yeah. And it's funny that like I've already done the Kokomo segment of Timeless Indiana, and we see the connection now. But what we don't know, right? Unless you may have told me this before, but your background in watches, like, you're a watch enthusiast first. Yeah. Before you're a businessman. Mm-hmm. So like, what was it? What's your attraction? What got you started with watches?
Growing up, my parents didn't really wear a lot of jewelry. My dad had a couple of watches that he'd wear, but he was a big runner, and he would have like a triathlon watch on, Timex triathlon watch. And I still thought those were cool, but then I started finding, you'd go to the store and you'd look and you'd see watches, and I always just gravitated towards them. And I also, would wear some, jewelry like necklaces and things. I just thought they were interesting. But watches were always the constant, And so, every picture that you see me in as a kid, I had a watch on. straight from the like low-end watches at the department store, or Walmart, whatever, Target, Kmart. I had the Armatron might have been like my first ever watch.
Right.
And I always just thought of it as the ultimate men's accessory. And when I started a business a while back, it was a seasonal business. I needed winter income, so I said, well, what do I love? Well, I love watches, so let's sell some watches. Well, in most worlds, that means you sell jewelry. So I started selling jewelry. Come on in. Started selling jewelry and became a manager of a jewelry store. Well, that wasn't my love. I do a lot of community work and things of that sort.
Okay.
So I left that, but I still love watches. So I would sell them online. But I finally started realizing, you know what? I gotta just sell watches. So a goal of mine was to open a store one day. Well, the pandemic hit, and I'm sitting there thinking, there's got to be something, more. And so I decided to open this, and it's been a wonderful journey already in 4 years.
Okay.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
150 years of Bulova is more than time in business. It's world-shattering excellence, a brand that's synonymous with quality and defines the word inclusion. The history of Bulova is one to behold, and you have arrived to the one place that can fulfill your watch collecting journey. Welcome to Trifecta Watches.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, man. And I'm gonna tell you something. One thing I just witnessed, I would say that was A1 customer service. A1. I don't know about that guy over there, man.
I don't either. I've been wondering about that.
No, but so, here's the deal, man. So, I'm curious. You were telling a story earlier that you had, the watches. You talked about how you the timepieces that you had. Now, you were telling a story about you sold a watch to help get this business started?
Oh, yeah. I had a collection of watches long before opening the shop. And one of the watches that I had in that collection was an Omega Seamaster that I bought, brand new. And I thought to myself, well, it's going to cost a lot of money to do this. I better sell some things, and I sold that watch. And it's just a big mistake because I missed that watch. I haven't bought it again for myself because it's nowhere near what I got it for anymore. And that money that I sold it for didn't really go that far. When you think about it, I mean, not even at all. I mean, so I use that as a story a lot to remind people when they bring in, especially like heirloom pieces, not to get rid of them. Don't be thinking that it's going to help you out. I mean, sure, I guess if you're in a serious bind, but if you're just hey, I don't really use this, I could probably use the extra money. Don't do that. Even if it's, because you're going to regret it. And I see it all the time. People come in, they're like, yeah, I got rid of that. Shouldn't have done it. Because where's that now? Where's that money now? It's gone. And did it really help you? Sure. If you're in a crisis situation, that's one thing. But if you don't have to or sell it to, I don't know, you hate to get family involved, but just don't get rid of your watches. Yeah. If you don't have to, 100% have to, then don't do it. Keep your boxes even, your paperwork, keep your extra links. All those things matter, especially if I've had plenty. I haven't even been working on them right now. Watches that have come in from customers. They were their grandparents. Say it's grandfather's watch. It doesn't fit. They didn't keep any boxes or links or anything like that, so now you have to go try to find links for a vintage piece. It can be very difficult or impossible. So keep them because you'll pass that along, and hopefully, nowadays most people weigh more than they did back in the day. So that if it's a small wrist and you're giving it to somebody this generation, might be a little bigger, maybe, right? hopefully we don't get any bigger in the future, 10 to 20 years
Right.
down the road. But, you know, it's just good to have those links.
Gotcha.
So-
Gotcha. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Year one of opening this business, what was your biggest fear?
Biggest fear, so it was 2021. So, like, part of the fear was just the pandemic. We're really in the thick of it. I mean, things didn't really start getting bad here until like the end of 2021, I think. We were kind of unscathed in a way. We didn't have it as bad. So the fear was that.
Okay.
But
And see, the only reason I asked you that, is because I
Uncomfortable.
know that there were during that time, it was a boom in watch sales.
Right.
It was a huge boom in watch sales. Some people, very few that I've talked to, didn't see anything. Like it was just kind of flatline. But I know there was some concerns, worries, and stuff like that.
yeah, I mean, in person. So I started this business with the hope, really, it was going to be all e-commerce. But the brands want you to have a brick and mortar, so I got a brick and mortar. And I started out doing just appointment only. And then I did like 2 days a week, and then by appointment, and then now we're open, you know, we're still open less than like a full retail store. But
Okay.
But the thought there, I mean, the concern was that I wouldn't have in-person business very much, or that it would take too long for people online to find out about us, and how much are you going to sell. If you do see those natural increases of a growing business, when is it going to plateau? Is it going to be enough to make a living off of, pay for all the expenses, pay for employees? Those are all things you get worried about.
I thought he came free with the business.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
We've been discussing that in my contract.
You told me he was a Temu special, didn't you?
That's and then I have him buy lunch for us.
I got him away from the idea of me paying him to be here. Now, he says, Mark, you're around all these beautiful watches. You love watches. You like talking to people. You owe me. Otherwise, you'd be sitting home watching Green Acres.
Wow.
And so that's how it worked out. It's really
Green
pretty
Acres.
amazing.
Green
Yeah.
Acres is crazy.
So always have, there's always concerns, but I never really, like, I have other businesses and stuff, so I, like, nothing, monumental, but I have enough to.
So you Mr. Entrepreneur out here in Tippecanoe County.
No, I mean, I eliminate some of the worry by doing other things.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'm curious, how did you get in relations with Kokomo? How did you get connected with those guys?
I just kept asking around. I would visit stores, and part of it was I needed to get in touch with the reps. So I tried to find out where they were, where the authorized retailers were, see if I could get information, because you can't just look them up. You can't just say, hey, I want your watches. It doesn't really work that way. So they had helped me get in touch, I think, with Citizen, maybe Seiko, and then I built that connection. So then the repair side of the business, anything we can't handle in-house goes to them. So we built that partnership, and we just do business on all fronts. Things they don't have, I'll get to them. Things we don't have, we get from them. Whatever, we'll switch back and forth.
You know what? That's pretty cool because I'm thinking about the transaction you had with Moya Jewelers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that is big because you are an authorized dealer for Citizen, Boulevard, Seiko. What we got? Tissot over here. We got Hamilton. And one of my favorites, Longines, right? So I guess for just my curiosity is with that, what was the biggest struggle starting this business, or just even getting through? Because this is year 4 for you, correct? What's the biggest struggle?
The biggest struggle is always those initial months and years of finances. You're too new to get financing in a traditional sense sometimes. you know, if you have a business loan, you really can't get anything else. I mean, you know, unless you have somebody helping you, right? You know, a loan or something, cosigner or something like that. You have to depend on just working hard and you know, when things happen, like I had a big deal in business the second year. I had a brand that was releasing their novelties for the year, and they all showed up at the like, it was all in like October. It was a great amount of watches. So much so that I didn't have enough cash to pay for it. And so I had to work really hard because I was ramping up for the holiday season.
Right.
So like, and without, if you're not able to pay, I mean, you're not going to get any new stuff in addition to that. So that was a tough time because I had to really hustle hard and figure out ways to get an amount of money that you normally don't have to get, you know. But it makes you learn about yourself and, you know, how you persevere and how if you work hard, you're able to get through things like that. But I'll always remember that scenario, that situation. That was interesting. But if you just keep working hard, you know, you might be okay. Now, there's never like a feeling of letting up because you don't know what the future holds. I mean, even these tariffs, like if they were to pop up even more, you know, that could be detrimental to the whole industry. So that would be detrimental to us then, of course. And so I don't really count the chickens before they hatch.
Gotcha.
And I never get, you know, overly confident or anything like that because it could all change, you know, tomorrow.
So what would you say, like, okay, because you're in Tippecanoe, Purdue, Boilermakers.
Yep.
You have Indianapolis, which is Indianapolis, Westfield. So you got your Warriors, you got your Reese Nichols, you got Kokomo, Indiana, but the other extreme is Chicago.
Yeah.
So you're in between some heavy hitters.
Yep.
Right? So how do you say like the client base is here?
Hey, Mark. One of the things that priorities is that I always said if I open a store like this, I'm not going to be like some of these stores that have like they're all picked over, they're not stocked. If you see an empty spot in here, it's rare. I lost a display pillow, so that's bugging me. You know, so like I'll even ask Mark, and if Ashley comes in or Nick, I tell them, hey, if there's an empty spot, ask, you know, or try to get it filled. Right. Because, you know, that's one of the draws to this. We're not a huge generational jewelry store. So, you know, our competitive edge, if you will, is we have stock.
Got stock.
It's new. There's limited edition stock available. So, yeah.
So you are being featured on Watch Crunch. You have some YouTube presence. You know I'm going to always rep here. How does that, you know, like, did you have that in mind, the whole YouTube thing or social media? How did you feel about that?
Yeah, of course, but you didn't know, like, how is it going to play out? You know, like, what exactly would that entail?
Right.
I thought initially, like, even on my door, there's a YouTube logo.
Yeah.
I had envisioned that I would be doing the YouTube channel. Like, I would have to do it. Right. Again, it would be super relaxed. I'm not going to be doing production. It's not my passion. But I thought, well, I have to do something. That's why it's on the door from 2021 when we opened. But I didn't do anything for the first year, easy. Besides maybe a couple commercials that we did for TV.
Right.
And I just posted them to the YouTube channel. But really, it's like, that's what partnering is about. That's why you partner with people like you, who you have the passion for it. I don't have the passion for it. So like, let you ride and do what you need to do, and you can use the store, and we can get on YouTube. So
That's dope.
Yeah.
Now, what can we look for in the future from Trifecta?
in the future from Trifecta is going to be, a wider selection of the brands that we carry. That's first and foremost. I want to make sure that we're utilizing and we have a selection of everything. My goal, my long-term goal is to pretty much have everything that's in stock at these brands.
Right. Okay.
I mean, again, maybe with the exception of like Seiko Essentials and some of those first,
Right.
but
Right.
have almost everything in stock.
Okay.
And we're pretty good at getting a decent amount, but there's a lot more to get.
For my personal thoughts on the store, outside you being a cool dude, I think that the price proposition for where we are, right?
Yeah.
We're in Purdue, Tippecanoe County, but it's Indiana, right? You do have conservative people here, like you said before, and some people a tag isn't, spending $2,000 to $3,000 isn't an option, but you do give that with Longines.
Yes.
For those that are looking for a prestigious brand like that, but then you can come over here, another one, but you have affordability of Seiko. That's one thing I love about this store.
Yeah.
Is you have the price points are different, and lastly, you've added an estate collection.
Yep.
Which
We'll continue
is crazy.
to add on to that. I mean, that's a whole another business, really. So we haven't gone too deep into it, but we will. And if somebody wants something, they're always welcome to reach out.
Email, right? Email.
Email's good. Usually.
Email. I think at this point we want to call out, because I want to appreciate the viewers, but we want to call Jay Jones out right now because Jay Jones, I don't think you've purchased anything from Trifecta yet. Yeah, I'm just throwing it out there. I know it's all about Jake, and then we got Mark over there who's he busy.
I'm watching this time grapher. I don't even know what you're talking about.
That's what his job description is, just to watch that time grapher all day.
Yeah, so for all of, now I'm gonna tell you this, I do want to give a special thanks out to all of my viewers, especially India. India is watching. India is, they are making up a great deal of the views here. Awesome. And I want everybody to just know what we got going on in Indiana.
No, India, a number of our customers are from India, and Indian culture, I mean, they love fine things and watches and jewelry and,
Yep. So shout out to
22,
India.
24 karat gold.
Shout out to India.
So.
We got some he got some nice stuff out here.
Hey, you do too. So, no, it's a pleasure. And what's great about this industry and this hobby is that you get so many people who are excited about it. There's never a shortage of things to talk about. There's always something new coming out. The minute I think that a brand's going to stall out and not have something new, they come out with something amazing. So it's great. Just stay tuned, ask questions, introduce yourself, and help you out.
All right. And with that being said, until the next lightning strike, y'all be blessed.